All right, yo, what up, guys? Back with another stream. We're live. So, today, hopefully, we should have a way better experience as far as connection. I spent the last 2 days. Obviously, you see, we got a new camera angle too. Stumbled upon that. I didn't realize my cell phone could connect to OBS and all that stuff. So that's really cool. So we got another camera view here. Why not? The phone is always sitting on my desk doing nothing. Actually, I use it to check the stream. So at some point, I might need I might need it. But other than that, I think we should have a lot better on the stream. I went back and changed some settings in OBS and downgraded the stream. My settings were set they were set to my old Wi-Fi hotspot, which was a lot stronger, and I had a better signal. And like I realized, I was like, whoa! I looked at the settings. I'm like, yeah, the new setting, the new location, I have to change that. So things should hopefully be more smoother. And I'm not using my actual Wi-Fi hotspot. We were actually plugged into the home internet now. So I went yesterday and bought a. Hang on, wait for it. Boom! Now we got multiple camera angles. Yeah, I literally yesterday went out and bought a 25-foot or a 30-foot Ethernet cable. $15. Found a great deal on that. So I ran that all the way to the other room, all the way into my room here. So it's plugged in hardwired. Boom. So we should be good with that. So I don't have to burn up my data. My max speed data on my Wi-Fi, which I figured out the last time I was streaming for 3 days in a row, and then after that my internet was just so slow, and I'm like, what's going on? And I realized I used up the max data that allows me to run at 5G or higher speed, so I was basically in the penalty zone. So now we'll be doing, I can stream as much as I want and I don't have to worry about data. Okay, so what are we doing? This was kind of a test stream, but I am here. So quickly, just to give you guys the latest news on the bid, what's going on in the community, which I just checked in. Oh, I just posted this recently, guys, on my YouTube channel. Now the Blender videos, there is an auto dubbing feature that allows it automatically, and it switches to your native languages. Let's go ahead. Let's check that out really quickly. Let's jump into the old YouTube, and now I wonder how is it going to affect when I jump into YouTube. Oh yeah, you guys are sending some exclusive Ian Herbert stuff. That's for his the Patreon, which I was watching earlier. Let's just quickly jump onto the page here. Let's go to here, and it's on some videos and some that I noticed that it's not on. So let's come down here, and for example, oh, we're live now. It's showing up in the feed. Oh, we got 3 people watching. Hey, if you're there, ping in, give me an emoji, give me a thumbs up if everything sounds fine and sounds clear, and let me know, how do you guys like the new second view? Yo, what's up? I see you over there. Yeah, I see you. So let me know. I might move this phone around to different angles and figure out, but I think I like this wide angle here because then it gives me a chance to, so I'm not sitting in this position all the time, and I can be like, yo, let's have a talk. Let's talk for a moment here, right? Let me know if you guys like that new view or not. So again, if we jump down to one of my videos here, actually, let's just see if it's on this video here. No, let's go in the middle here. Let's see if it's on this video here. One of the videos from my Blender. So if you come down here to Tools, Settings, and I'm not seeing it on these videos yet at all. I just noticed it on my recent videos. So if I come back to my page, and if we come down to, let's see what we got. Show some of your renders with Octane. You got it. We'll jump into that real quickly. We'll actually jump into the Discord because some people got some problems. I want to help them out, so I'm going to jump into Octane. Let me quickly check. So if we come to the new video. Hey guys, I want to give you guys a quick. And if we come to settings. Now I don't see it. I saw it yesterday. I know I'm not crazy. Can you guys change my videos? I just made a post about it, and now I don't see subtitles, auto generation. Okay, let's go back. Video. I think I tried it on this video here. All right, guys, quickly here. Okay, maybe I'm not looking in the right place. Captions. No, there's captions. Huh. Now I sound like a fool, but trust me, guys, I just made a video about it because I can change my videos into different languages. How did I do that? I did it yesterday. Like literally the audio dub, you can change it to Japanese or whatever. Hang on, I'm just gonna go back to the video where I actually did it and see right here. Hey guys, I want to give you guys a quick heads up. Some of my videos now are being audio dubbed by YouTube into different languages. So if you go down to settings, see, there it is, settings, audio track right there. There's 10 audio tracks. Check out here, audio track. These are some of the available languages right now. We got French, German, Hindi, Indonesian, Italian, Japanese, Polish. Okay, am I not seeing that? So like, where'd that go? Can you guys see that on any of my past videos? Now this has got me baffled. Maybe it was... Here is a Blender op. Oh, so there it is again. It's only... now I need to figure out what videos is it doing it. Here it is. It's on this video, but on the other videos it wasn't. So now I can change it to any language. Me being in Japan is most appropriate. Let me change it to Japan.
ブレンダーオクタンのちょっとしたヒントをご紹介します。画面を横切るアニメーションの電車がありますね。そしてここには素敵なモーションブラーの筋があります。しかし内側のマテリアルや照明にはモーションブラーがありません。
This is so cool.
ブレンダーオクタンで覚えておくべき。
Die Sie in Blender Octane beachten sollten, ist, die Bewegungsunschärfe zu aktivieren. Sie kann sowohl für einzelne Assets als auch für das gesamte Asset aktiviert werden.
Okay, so that's dope, but I gotta figure out on the back end, why is it just this video and why is it not my other videos? So I'll do that off stream, but anyways. Alright, so what we got here is show some of your renders with Octane. Alright, what was the last render I worked on? Oh, the last render I just uploaded to the Blender Octane Render Network Royal Rumble competition, which was... Ah! Dennis, yo, what up, guys? They want to see some of my renders. Let's show them some of the renders, yo. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see, what was I working on? Actually, I haven't been working on nothing the last couple of days. I've been just trying to solve my internet speed problem the last couple of days. Let's go ahead and I'll show you guys this render, which is pretty heavy. And I just posted it on Instagram, on the gram. And I just uploaded it for the Render Network Challenge. If you guys want some free credits to test out the Render Network, links down in the description there. That's how I rendered this thing out, like in like literally minutes, like 20 minutes. I rendered this whole sequence out, all 350 frames at 1,000 samples with fog and all that stuff going on. Let's make sure. There it comes in. Boom. All right. So it is an animation. I've got this camera that's kind of like sliding in. And again, it's pretty heavy because I got fog in here in the scene and there's a lot going on. Let me just kind of jump in so you can see what's going on here. So this is the whole scene set up. And that's one thing that I don't like about this camera. Like, it's got a timer on it and it gets all weird. So now I can probably just switch out to this camera here, right? But I just gotta remember what I'm talking to. So it's a fairly little easy scene. You see, I've got all these planes in here in the back that are all lit up with emission. A little asset here from Ian Hubert, and then the main focal point is this sign here. And let me quickly just play the original render for you guys, so you guys can quickly see that. Hang on here, so you can see it in motion. The theme of the challenge was urban utopia. So I didn't want to, like, I'm not a fan of urban utopia renders. So I was going to do my own twist on it, which involved, like, there's a video playing here on this video screen of an urban utopia. And all these people live in this, like, you know, Blade Runner like grim environment, and they're seeing the ad of living on the Utopia. Render number 6, render network. I'm done. Actually, that's not the final one either. That one I noticed is missing the buildings in the back. This is the one, yep. So it's really dark, kind of grim, right? Because the whole thing was to have your attention focused on this. I don't really want you looking around, but this was the main focal, the hero of the shot. All this video and imaging were generated. I used ChatGPT to generate these images here. And then I took these images and threw them in DaVinci Resolve and kind of put these images to... this was a little bit of a AI video I actually generated using ChatGPT 4. So it's like literally like 10 or 15 seconds. Oh, Chatamonte, I forgot I added the chat in here too now. All right, we got the chat going there. I have a question. How do I use noise textures as normal maps in Blender? What do you mean? I have a question. Hang on, let me see your question again. I got a question. How I use normal textures as normal maps in Blender. A noise texture, like a procedural noise texture. A noise texture. What do you mean? So for example, hang on, let's close the scene. Or anyways, let me just quickly show. So yeah, this is the scene. We've got some cool buildings here. I've got a bunch. They're all just basic. I just kit bashed this whole scene together. Like these buildings here were Max Hayes assets. And then I threw some emission on the windows. Put all this stuff. I'm doing a full YouTube video breakdown on this, guys, here shortly, which I'm going to post up. I got to edit it this weekend. But let's get into some play. So he's saying, 24, love your content. Thanks for the support. Normal, you want to plug? Okay, let's see what you got here. Let's bring in a plane. Let's jump over here. And let's add in a texture here. Actually, this one here on the bottom I don't need. There we go. Fire this up. So, noise, our grayscale. You need to convert it into a normal map or to use a bump. Right, yeah. I mean, well, because a normal map, yeah, a normal map, it's the same in cycles. If you have a normal map, you'll be able to jump the normal map in there. So you can't just use a grayscale image for the normal map. That's why you'll have to use the bump. So for example, if I have a noise texture, if I got a noise texture here, let's plug this into the albedo just so we can see what's going on here for a minute here. Let me kill this background. Oh, there it is. Sorry. So we got this background. We got this plane here. Let's also just go ahead and throw that into the roughness because we can, right? Then I'm going to come in here, add a gradient map to it, which is our color ramp. Gradient map, drop that in there. Also plug that into here. Kind of just compress these values a little bit here. So here's our noise pattern, right? So here's our noise pattern. Let's go to turbo. Let's just get something more interesting here. Something like that. Let's scale it up. All right, so I've got this noise pattern. Okay. Now, if I wanted to use this in the bump, I can just throw that into the bump. Right here, bump. Okay. Now, we know this is fake, right? And we can control it with the bump height right here if I want. Like, this is just fake, right? We don't, there it is. It looks ugly and it looks gross, but hey, it can get the job done if you know, it doesn't need to be like super close up on there, right? So if I just plug this into the normal, let's see what happens. Nothing happens because it's not set up for a normal. Man, what was there? There is a way. I forgot. Hang on. There is a way. Normal. Let me take a look at the database here in the system. All right. Now, one thing we got here is this is a free site where you can take an RGB image and convert it to a normal. Let me grab this link for you. And I'll drop that in the chat for you. But then hang on. There's another thing that we can do too. All right. There's that. Then, hang on here. Look at this. Noise to normal. Hi there. Is there a way to use a generated black and white noise from a normal bump? Yeah, that's exactly the question that you just asked. Right? That's why I don't mean to hype up my school, but we've already got 1.5 years of data of people using Blender Octane, and then we can just search. Like, this is why it's powerful, right? This is extremely why it's powerful. So what he's doing, he's got a noise texture. He's going to plug that into the normal. And then let's see. This is mostly likely, this is impossible. There's only a way that I can think that works is by either complicating noise or baking the noise. Yeah, just like I just said here. Or you can sort of fake it by mixing multiple noises and using a ballpark of colors that usually see within there. So you'll get a random orientation of normals. Maybe an interesting idea. Huh. Yeah, you're going to have to just convert it. I think you're going to have to convert it. Flipping normals in Octane, free normal generator site. And that's what I just played with, told you right there. Right? Free normal generator site. And then here is the same site here, so you can load in an image. Here's another one. You might want to check this one out. All right. Let me see what else we got in here. Normal displacement. Flipping normals, that's normals. Yeah, so flipping normals in Octane. What is this here? How do I flip normals in Octane? RGB node. No problem. Yeah. So like you're gonna have to convert it from a black and white value to something that a normal slot can read, because you really can't just, it can't just be black and white and then turn into a normal, right? You're gonna have to convert it. Now you could, in Octane, we can take this black and white value and bump it out. Like I can do that. Like if I can come in here, check it out. I'll show you how I do that. I'll just come in here and take this and add in a texture, a displacement texture. Actually, I don't even have to do it. Let me come down here to displacement. And I can click on this and go to texture displacement. And it's going to kick down this node. This node here. Let's kind of just push this up. We don't need to see that right now. This texture displacement node, I can take a normal, or that noise that we had. I can plug this into here. And if I go ahead and crank it up, actually, you know what? Because it's procedural noise, we have to bake it. Now we can bake it in real time in Octane, right? So here's my noise texture. I'm going to come in here and go, what is it? Baking texture. Okay, I'm going to drop this baking texture here. And then I'm going to take this and plug this in the texture. And then now if you look, you see what we got going here. Now I've got that black and white value. And I'm basically extruding it. Let's kind of bring down that level a little bit. It's a little bit hot and a little bit heavy. Let's go 0.5, right? And hang on, I'm gonna go restart the viewport. And did I crash it? Or what's going on? Hang on. Because the value was pretty, I had the volume set pretty high. Yeah, I did kind of crash my server. That's no biggie. Let me just turn that off. I don't know, this new update version, I might go back to the old version because this updated version keeps crashing. The server keeps crashing. Well, it doesn't keep crashing, but I notice it crashes a little bit more frequently than the other version. So I might downgrade and go back to the version I had running before. Which unfortunately, if you're using Blender Octane and you are not a paid member, you can't get access to the older versions. That's why in my community I've been saving the older versions, because there's a couple times that burnt me where I upgraded and I was like, oh, I need to go back. I don't like this new version. You know, so I've saved a dispensary of older versions here. If I come into my classroom, go to the classroom right here, this is where I keep all the older versions of Blender Octane and their servers right there, so I can never back up. All right, now we should be back in here, waiting for image, let it load. Boom. All right, good. So now I'm displacing that same noise pattern, and there it is. Viewport's a little hot today. What's going on with that? Let's come down and go to my highlight clipping. Yeah, the highlight clipping needs to be there a little bit. There we go. Good. And now the fun begins. Like, I can control it. It's at 1080. I can take it up to 2K. Let's go to 2K. We could even go up to 4K if you want more resolution, right? Then if I want more detail, you take up this right here, this radius. Now this again. Now we're gonna get more detail out of it. Also, dude, what the heck again? The freaking server keeps dropping out, dude. What the hell, man? I wonder if that's... I don't know why it keeps doing that. It did that yesterday. Actually, it started doing that ever since I had my computer plugged into the network, to the home network. And it used to never do that when I was on my Wi-Fi. Alright, but now you can see we got a lot more detail. Okay, and then this actually needs to be set to 2K also. And it crashed my server again. What the heck is going on, dude? Is this a bug? I might have to report this. I haven't played with texture displacement in a little bit, so this might be a bug. I might have to report this. I'll have to play with it off stream and see if it continues to do that, because this might be a bug. Okay, but now set to now we got a 2K resolution. Okay, and then if I can come back over here to my noise texture, now I can literally, like, let's go back to turbulence, right? So here's my turbulence noise texture, and we can kind of like play with this, right? Look at that. That's beautiful. All right, we can even play with the contrast, play with my scale. I'm probably gonna crash the server right now. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, dude. That's annoying as hell. So, but yeah, it really shouldn't be doing that. I don't know, it might be a bug. I just installed this new version like literally 3 days ago, so I have not really debugged and find out what, but already I'm seeing there might be issues. But I cannot blame that on the server. It might also be my lack of strength on my internet, which it really shouldn't apply, because the server is there is just to confirm that you are, it's just kind of like validating that you're okay to use this, right? Like that you registered and stuff. It's not like sending data to the network or anything like for the render. So there's that. All right, now what I'm going to do is just kill that for a moment. And what I wanted to do was jump back over to my Discord, because somebody was having some issues and I wanted to kind of figure out how can I fix these issues for them really quickly. And where is Discord? There it is. And it's getting hot in here with these lights on. All right, so first in line, this whole box, but the camera cuts it. I have that fisheye realistic camera, so is there a setting that adjusts the clipping? Yeah, I think you just might be too close. You're cutting into it because you're just too close with the camera position. Let's go see if we can recreate this. Let me just grab a box here. Actually, we're just going to grab Suzanne here. Shade her up. Alright. And then we'll kind of get something close. Position this camera here. And bring in the camera. Alright, and then what I want to do is jump into the camera lenses, go to realistic cameras. You're using the fisheye camera lens. Love your content, bro. I follow you since I explored Motion Cam Pro app. Oh! OG coming from the mobile filmmaking stuff. Right? Yeah, you can probably recognize this. I film. Yeah, I actually just loaded Motion Cam Pro up on my new Pixel right here. And I was playing with it a little bit last week. I just moved, so I got to get all my camera gear and all my lenses and stuff out, and so I can play with that a little bit more in depth. But yeah, I'm starting to get back into that because I'm going to start doing some more VFX stuff, and I want to start recording in RAW with the phone, and then bring it into 3D and play. Okay, so this is the issue he's having right here. It's cutting off. And that's just the camera is probably too close. Like, you're just going to probably have to back up the camera. That's probably the best way that I can tell you how to get around that. Yeah, your camera is just probably too close. That's what I would think. Let's quickly reply to this. Yeah, I would just back your camera up. It's just too close. You're clipping into the geometry. Back up your camera a little bit. All right, what's another problem we got? Now, this one I was working on last night, so this one's going to be kind of a pain here, so I got to figure this one out. So, the issue is he has this volume box in his scene, and he wants to render out the volume box, or he wants to have the volume separate, so I guess for maybe compositing. So, he's not seeing the volume results every time he renders, because he's using render layers. So, let's jump back in here. We might as well just leave this camera set up here because we don't. Why not? Alright. But I will turn off that fisheye lens and let's bring it up to like a 50 mil. Alright. And let's kind of zoom our camera. Ooh. 50 mil. And let's see. That for right now. Let's lock that in. All right, then I'm going to add in a box. We're going to add in a fog box. GZ. Scale this up. Oh, make things save this really quickly because when you start trying to do stuff and getting crazy and you don't save it, it will crash. I know that for a fact. It will crash. So we're just going to come in here and stream play. I don't have to title it there. All right. So volume box, we want to make sure our camera is also in the volume box. There it is. It's inside. If we jump in the camera, now we don't see nothing because it's just a box. We're going to jump in here and we're going to add in delete that, add in a scatter. I mean, not a scatter, add in a specular material. Plug that in. Turn the refraction to black. Then we're going to come in down to medium. Right there. I'm going to add in a scattered medium. Now we don't see anything because it's crazy high up. So I'm going to go 0.1. And then I'm going to turn the scattering and then I can go ahead and crank that up. And there we go. We got some fog, right? Now we're seeing the outside world. Again, I don't want to see that right now. So I'm just going to come in here, go to alpha channel. That's going to kill our background. But we're still seeing our HDRI because that's what's hooked up. So we can turn that off, and I can just literally just go. Matter of fact, we don't even need that. So I'm just gonna change this whole world setting just to a daylight system right now, daylight environment like that. Okay. Now the daylight environment is reflecting on the cube because we're using a specular material, and a specular material is like glassy. So it's basically, this is the how we get fog in Octane. Like, so the specular material is kind of like glass, right? So if you don't want to see that, we should be able to turn that off in, actually, hang on, visible environment. Let's take this, which is hiding behind here. I'm gonna plug this into visible environment. This is just a texture node, right? And then I want to see this in the refraction and in the reflection. So now we'll see just this gray void, right? Now we can jump back inside of here. And now we're seeing that corner, also because where our camera is at, we're seeing this corner, which is getting some weird effects going on here. So typically, where's my camera at? And let's actually take this and go to viewport display. Click back on that. View display. Let's go to wire. Okay. And see, we're seeing that corner when we jump inside of here. This right here is that corner. So I'm just gonna rotate the cube so we don't see that. Just rotate the cube like something like that. Okay, now we don't see it. And then also I'm gonna add in a light. We'll go to area, Octane area light, GZ it up. There's our light, scale that up a little bit. Boom. All right, so we got fog in here and stuff going on. All right, let's quickly save that one more time. Now, what we have is the issue is he wants to have the fog separate. So he has a city and he has the fog, but he wants to render out the fog layers separate. So he's doing them on render layers, and I think that might not be the best way. So I'm going to see how I would try to get this to render. So I probably would use AOVs. So I'm going to come over here. Actually, no, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go to render AOVs. Click on a new system. We're just going to call this test, right? And then what I want to do, volume, but this is just a cube. So can we do like an object? Render AOVs. What's the best way to do this? Okay, render layers. Reflection, shadow, black layer, light, information. What about object ID? Object ID. Let's go with an object ID. And then if I come, okay, we need to give this cube an object ID number. Click on object. There's render ID. What about object ID? Baking ID. Render ID. Let's just give it a render ID of 2. Do we have render IDs in here instead of an object ID? Let's go to search. Let's go render. Render layer IDs. Yes, we do. All right, let's try that. Okay, and how do we assign it though? This says render ID AOVs. All right, so let's go ahead and set up our outputs now. Let's jump into compositing. And let's go back to Blender's standard compositor. And let me just quickly see really fast. Denoising passes. Hang on, we got to select our, make sure we're in the right system. I come over here, see my AOVs were on the wrong one. We named ours test. So here's test. Okay, there's test, and now test. AOVs, we're looking at the wrong one here. We need test. There it is, test. Now, okay, I don't see those as an output. Okay, hang on. Let's go back to Octane's compositor. Add a new node tree in here. Add in a composite AOV output. Add in a render AOV. Can we search here too? Render layer ID. Okay. Let's come back into our shading over here. Let's go back into, let's turn the compositor on. Come into render layers, and AOV output should be, is the compositor 1? Hang on, let's go to compositing, and viewport, render. Let's turn off that text. All right, compositor 001, test, render AOV, compositor output, actually let's just name this test also, test B. So I make, okay, now I'm on the right one. Okay, now we can see all of our passes here. So if we go to denoise, that's the denoise pass. Object ID, that's the object ID, which we don't really see anything on there. There's a render ID. Render ID is green, and the AOV output. Okay, so interesting. How would we export this out? Okay, for a second, let me just quickly back up to what he had before. So he has this box, and he's doing a render ID layer. So to turn on render layers, we come back over here, and we're going to turn on render layer AOVs, or just turn on your render layers. Here's our render layer. Render layer active layer right now is 1. That's why we're not seeing anything. 2, there's the fog. Now we're seeing everything. For example, if I take Suzanne, hang on, how can am I clicking on Suzanne? Let's go to outlier. We click on Suzanne. We give her a render layer ID layer of 1. We shouldn't see her, right? And this cube has a render layer ID of 2. What the heck, dude? Active render layers 2. There's 1. Suzanne. Oh, let's click on Suzanne. She has 1. Okay. The cube has 2. Right now we're seeing render layer 1. If we invert this, we should see the opposite, right? Yep, there it is. Invert that. Now if we go to 2, we should see the light. There it is. Okay, now if I click back on Suzanne, and I don't want to see her, but I just want to see the effects that she's making to the scene. That should be... That's not casting a shadow. Where do I do that? Oh, right here. Layer 1, normal, hide inactive, hide from camera, side effects only. So that means we'd only see her shadow and stuff. Okay, how about 2? Side effects only, hide from camera. Okay, now we're seeing just the fog. Hide inactive layers. We don't want to. So we don't see Suzanne, but we see there just that. Okay. So if we jump in here, let's just go normal. Let's go save, and let's render it out. See what we get. And why is it doing that? Oh, that's the other camera in the background. All right. Oh, I forgot. On this one here, we don't need the Canon. And then on this one here, this is the close-up. This is the Canon. All right. So to separate here, view layers. There's the beauty. View layers. We're just seeing one layer, so it's like the layers are not working here. Okay. Show side effects only. Let's just turn them both on. Let's render that again. I should set it to 100 samples so I don't have to wait. How do I get the text to not stay on screen when no new text is there so it like floats off? I have to figure that out. Like the chat box. Like it doesn't need to be on screen when there's no chatting going on. And like it will appear when there's a new chat. Man, the stream's holding solid at 500 kilobytes. That's good. Max is set to 1500, so. Okay, that changed something. Now I don't see anything. View layers. Combine. Beauty. View layer. Composite. Okay, now we don't see nothing. When I turned on global view layers, 1. There's 2. So hide from camera. Okay, that's just the fog. Hide inactive layers, meaning if it's not active, don't show. If it doesn't have a layer ID of 2, don't show it. So that means just the fog is showing. Suzanne is not showing. But I can do that over here. If I come back up to this one here, turn this render layer on. 2, hide inactive layers. That's just show the fog, okay? Just show the fog. Set this to 100 because I don't want to wait. Render. Alright, so that's rendering just the fog. Now, my next question is this affecting the scene? So, let's make this small again. And Suzanne, let's make this light small so I can get maybe some shadows or something coming off of her. You know? Hang on. That was my cue box. Let's click on our light. Make it small. Alright. So we can get some God rays a little bit kind of happening right there. I can see a little bit of some God rays happening. Let's click on Suzanne. Alright, now let me click back on my layers here. Back to normal. So now everything is showing. Right, there it is. There's Suzanne, and we can see she's affecting the fog. Okay, now we want to take Suzanne out of the shot, but we just want the results of the fog. So then set this to hide inactive layers. And there it is, right? I think that should be it. Hide from camera. Show only side effects. Normal. What if we go to 1? Hide in all inactive layers. Hide inactive all layers. Hide inactive layers. That hides everything else. Hide from camera, which we shouldn't do. Show side effects. Normal. That's set with Suzanne set to 1. Again, our cube should be set to 2. Yep, render layer ID 2. Alright, and then I come back over here. Render layers, activate render layers. I'm going to say I want to activate render layer 2, which is the fog, and it's showing everything. And then I'm like, I don't want Suzanne to be shown. I just want the fog. And then say hide inactive layers. I don't know what the heck that did. What the hell is that? Dude, what the heck is that? That's the overlay when you're like using the render network. Or like when you're using the paid, when you're trying to use the premium version and you haven't paid. What is this what is this? What is going on, dude? Okay. Why is it doing that? Where did that come from? Dude, what is this? Are you guys witness? Like, did they just flip the switch and Octane is not free anymore? What is up? Do we have to pay for Octane now? Like, what the heck is going on right now, guys? Exit that. Like that screen is basically like when I go to the render network and I render my render. Before you pay, or like when you're downloading your render from being rendered, like you have to approve your render. So like, okay, is this gonna be? They give you a preview, and that overlay is on the images before you actually download them or technically pay for your renders when you're on the render network, and then that screen will appear and then it goes away. But that is the first time I've ever in my whole entire Blender Octane career or life have ever seen that in the viewport ever. Like if you're probably using Octane X or the paid version of Octane and you're using the free demo, like that's what you see until you pay for it and then it goes away. That was weird. That was freaking weird. So I'm just gonna quickly set something up here that's simulating like I have like a city or something going. Just I want to set this up one more time for him so I can make sure that I'm figuring this out for him correctly. Okay, so here's like our city. Drop our camera here. Here's our city. Alright, boom, boom. And then what I'm going to do, quickly save this again. And let me set it up. He's using no background. So he actually has alpha channel off like that. Okay. And I'm just going to kill that. We don't need a world lighting because we're just going to bring in this big light. Area light, GZX. Scale that sucker up, something like that. Bring it back. Scale on the Y. Gives a little something longer. Alright, there it is. And then what we're going to do is drop in a cube. And I'm going to set this cube like right here. Scale it on the X. Scale it on the Y. And scale it on the Z. GZ it up. There it is. There's our fog box. And then let's come over here so we can see view display. Set it to wired. Alright, our camera is not in the box. Your camera should be in the box. GY. Now our camera is in the box. And then what I'm going to do is add the material for this. Specular material. Add it into the surface. Make sure the refraction is set to black. Then add in a medium node. I always pass medium and scroll straight down to the bottom. I don't know why I do that. Out of all these years, I still do the same thing. And then we're going to make this like 0.1. And then add the scattering. Boing. There's our fog box. Alright. And there's that. It's coming in our camera. Alright. Boom, there's our fog. Looking nice and creepy. Alright, boom. Okay. I'm going to record this part for him so I can clip this part out of the video. So I have the exact same thing you have set up. You have a fog box. Now you want to have your fog render separately. Do the render layers. So what we're going to do is, again, I'm going to click on my fog box. There it is. Give it a render layer ID of 2. And then what I'm going to do, after I do that, and activate render layers, we're going to come over here. We're going to tick on the render box. That activates it. And I'm going to scroll over to activate layer 2 ID, second ID. There it is. And now we should just have fog, right? Or hide inactive layers. Now it's just the fog. That's what it looks like, right? Let me save it. And render. I forgot to set it to 100. Well, that looks like right. I can barely see the fog, and the fog is coming from that light source, and it's an alpha background because we turned on alpha, so you can layer this back over. I think this, if this is what you're trying to do, I think this is it. I probably should have set the samples to 100. We don't need to sit here and wait for 500 samples. Okay, let me look at the viewport one more time to compare this. Right, we're just seeing just the light. I mean the Actually, hang on. We're seeing this cube a little bit more because the cube is so narrow. We need to scale that on the X so we don't see that. Like that. Now, I don't see the fog. I'm just seeing the reflection of the box. Let's go back to our render layers. Normal. I think I know what it means now. Like, there's the fog. We see the... Here right now, render layer 2, and this is activated. We should just see just fog. Normal, hide inactive, hide from camera, side effects only. Yeah, okay, well, let's just turn this to 1. And we're still not seeing the fog. Okay, now we're seeing the fog when I invert it. So since we invert it, let's put this, all of these cities, all of these buildings here. Hang on. Since, okay, that's what we're seeing there. Now, can I say hide inactive? Show only side effects. Okay, show only side effects. Normal. Show only side effects. And the box is set to 1 with an inverted section on there. Now we're, and that is alpha. That is, I can see the alpha. Okay, that is it. I think that's it. Now, oops, I want to go back to that. So if I come in here, view layers, right? Combine, denoise. Up there's the denoise pass. Beauty pass. My denoise looks so gross. The denoise looks way off. I don't know what that. What's up with that. But technically, I think this is it. So let me just quickly save this as an alpha RGB, right? Stream, and we'll just call this fog. I can't spell FOG, but anyways. And then let's go ahead and render, like we're gonna composite this out, right? Let's go ahead, and now if I invert that and just select just the buildings and the light, I don't want to see the light, so that should be set to 0. Okay, and we have just the buildings. This is just the buildings. Now let's render this. Yeah, stand up here from the back. Now we're not seeing anything. Now we don't see anything. Why aren't we seeing anything now? Only show side effects is still selected. Normal. But we're still getting the alpha. Hang on. So, but technically that might be right, huh? Let's just actually go back to render. Let's save this. Save a copy. Right. Okay. So now if we come back here and my full output, if I turned off render layers, this is everything. And we still have an alpha background, which is okay. Now, if I wanted to turn off the alpha background, that's what the, well, alpha background doesn't really matter because I can put anything. Okay, so hang on. Now that we've got that, let's recomposite this back. Because I think the issue he's having
fire it up. Yeah, it's not rendering anything. You see? My sampling is going up, everything going up. That's not. I tried to close the alpha channel, doesn't work. Keep environment, I think it would. It's not working. I think when I change it to this one. This when I change it to hide inactive layers, it's working, but I don't want to render it with the background, I mean the environment. When I try and farm it out, it's not working. Same problem. I'll turn it on. It's working.
I don't. I kind of get it and I kind of don't get it. Just want to say thank you for this channel and all the info you share about Blender Octane. Frost 7, no problem. Thanks for the support. Thanks for supporting. I'm just on a journey of learning Blender Octane and just sharing it with you guys at real time as I'm learning it, right? How do I turn those off? The chat's bugging me a little bit right there, this on the screen. It's got to be a way like it can appear when there's a chat and then disappear when the chat goes away. All right, now let's recomposite this back. What time is it? Ooh, it's almost time for me to get ready to go to work. Stream. All right, there's the first one. Right, there's a fog 1. And here's the fog 2, and they both have their alphas. So if I take this one and just drag it on to over here. Okay. And there goes my light. I mean, light's getting too hot. It means the light is getting hot. Actually, no, I don't want to kill that light. Oh no, what are we doing? Oh no. There we go. All right, so that is the alpha. And there's the fog. I think that's pretty much it. So the next step would have been just to render out the buildings without the fog, right? So if I just hide, well, you can't just hide the fog, because if we're compositing that with the fog in there, it needs to be still affecting everything else. See, that's just the fog right there. Only show the side effects. I mean, it's only show the effects of the building inside the fog. Go back to 1. Huh. I think, man, I really don't understand exactly what he's still trying to do. But I don't know. I'm gonna send them a couple of snippets from this stream, so hopefully that will help. But I'm able to, like, separate. There's the fog separated from these elements, because now this is alpha. So we will put the buildings back inside of here. That's the alpha for the light showing up right there on the top. And if I didn't want that light alpha affecting the alpha 2, the light would also have to be, probably get an object number 2, right? Yeah, render layer ID. Let's just put that on 3. Again, let's go back to our box. render layer 2. Our fog is on its own layer. I gotta study up again on render layers because I used to understand it a little bit when I was doing VFX shots all the time every day. I haven't done a VFX shot in almost a year now, so I've kind of forgot my workflow with Octane and VFX. There is the alpha background. And the render layer system, it's like it feels complex in the beginning, but once you understand it, it's really easy. Like you don't have to set up like these scene layers that you do here in Blender Cycles. You don't have to do that with Octane. Like you just give them their number and then like it renders it out. But I just totally forgot my setup that I used to do. So 1, 2, there's 3 now. 3. Hide inactive, no. Hide from camera. I would say 3 hide from camera, right? Because I don't want to show it. So, but that's it for today, guys. I gotta get ready to go and get ready for lunch. This was really mainly just a test stream to boop. There's my other camera. We need some more light. This was really just a test stream to kind of figure out, like I hardwired my internet now. We're streaming at a solid 530 kilobytes per second. So we have no drop frames, which is nice. So I used to try to stream at HD quality. I had to drop that way down, but I don't know how that looks on your end. So I will watch this stream back later on today to see how it is. But I gotta, like, it's just like learning Octane. I gotta learn streaming because I want to get it to a point where I can just stream when I want to. I prefer to stream all the time, like when I'm working on scenes and when I'm building scenes and stuff like that, because it's a little bit lighter on the system than me recording live while I'm rendering, like, because it's like having the render engine going in the background while it's also recording video. It's kind of heavy. It's a little bit lighter streaming. At least it feels like that to me. I'm not sure if it truly is. I don't really know, but like my viewport doesn't feel as laggy when I'm streaming like right now when I'm recording an actual, like I have the recorder going and like recording video. Like it definitely feels laggy and the render kind of, because I'm using the GPU to render and I'm using the GPU. Small text looks very blurry. Yeah, that's because I knocked the resolution down, so you're gonna lose some resolution on that, unfortunately. But it's a small trade-off. Like, do we have a smoother stream at a lower quality or a dropping in and out stream at a higher quality, right? So there's always going to be some trade-offs. But on my end, like this viewport is way more snappier, like streaming, than if I was to try to record this video offline and like, you know, plus editing and all that stuff. So. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to get back to when do you usually go live. Really, I don't have a set schedule. Really, only time pretty much right now in the morning, 10 o'clock Japan time, which I don't know what time that is for you. Where are you from? But 10 o'clock Japan time, I can normally get in an hour because normally that's when I spend my hour in Blender. I'll play before I go to work, and then I gotta get ready to go to work. So, you know, playing in Blender for 1 hour a day is kind of like my daily render process, you know, and just learning Blender and things like that, trying to make a render. So I want to kind of start streaming that session so people, because there's a lot of stuff that I learn when I just play in Blender for an hour a day. You know, sometimes I post the render results, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm trying to figure out problems like this, like I'm trying to figure out how to help this guy out with the render layers. So yeah, but I'm gonna start scheduling them, unfortunately. You know what? Well, if I schedule it, it should show up on YouTube, on the YouTube page, because in my community, they know exactly when I'm going to be streaming because it posts like right here. It shows up in the feed like, hey, he's live, and you can click on that, and it also shows the time. So that's a little bit different there. So, all right, guys. Tomorrow's Friday. I don't have work tomorrow, so I'll definitely be streaming again around 10 a.m. Japan time. So there should be a stream. I'll schedule the stream so everybody, you can check their times and stuff. But I learned a lot today. Oh, like the camera went out. So what? I'll just use the second camera. Learned that out. Gonna start streaming Blender. Yeah. You know, it's fun. And I like it because it's real time. I get to interact with you guys real time. and it's a lot more funner than posting videos and reading comments. So, all right, guys, keep rendering. That's the only way you'll get better. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.